Okay, so today I was thinking maybe it would be cool to try to build something of a rack that doesn't require any playhead tempo or anything like that. It just can play on its own. And my experiments, the way to do this is to start with a vinyl distortion, and we are going to go ahead and group this. We don't actually want an instrument rack for this. I want to go ahead and let's just drop in a vinyl distortion, group that, and I'm going to group this again and map this on off here. Make this 1 and 0 max, so that way when we turn this up, this whole thing turns on. And we can then map this volume. We have to sort of go 2 levels deep. I wish Ableton could just automatically go down all the levels for us. So that's mapped there just fine. Let's go 0 as the top. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Cool. We will call this sound source 1. Pretty generic. So now we got the first sound source here, and let me see if we duplicate this. Yep. Looks like we've also got that controlled by this. So I think we want to go ahead and map that over here, and then map this over here. Did I do that right? There we go. So now this one is controlling 2, so 1 and 2 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and rename these for ease and map that there. Okay, cool. 1, I can rename these later. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one's taking definitely a bit more setup than we normally have. And so let's see, 4. Okay, so we're going to stick with 4 for now. We can always expand down to 4 more after that, but cool. So let's get some crackles going. We can just turn these off, and actually we could just go ahead and mute. Not that way, but just hit the mute button there. Cool. And paste this on off. All right, so we'll get to these other ones later, but let's focus on the first one now. Make sure everything is working here. Yep, getting some volume here. Okay, just got to double check. For my sanity's sake, because peace of mind is priceless, as they say. Cool, so I want to turn this into a tone. I want to get a tone going. And I've always found there's 2 ways to go about that. One is the auto filter, and the other is the EQ8. This is the more CPU efficient way, if you will. And we can boost that. Let's make sure they're both set to 4 pull. So, and we've got this one at, let's just type in 33. This one, actually, we'll type in something more audible, 100. And it looks like it pushed this one up also, 100. And so, yeah, we don't need these. Let's turn this all the way up. Cool, getting a nice little tone going. And with our auto panned cum tremolo, we can get ourselves a nice little rhythm going here. Now this will actually, since we set it to this will be syncing to our tempo, which I'm going to go ahead and just pull that down for the heck of it. So yes, bit of a techno beat there. But if we have multiples of these and we offset the rates, we do get some cool, as you can hear. Well, that's something. We can just keep playing around with these until we hear something that we like. It's almost like a kick right there. Cool. Let's get back to that one. Yeah, we could just go, we can name these, well, we'll just name it here, kick. We'll call this, maybe we'll get lucky and be able to construct a snare in good time. It's not an easy thing, in my opinion, to make a snare. Let's go ahead and narrow that width down there. How would we make a snare out of that? Well, we need to, well, there's so many ways to go about it, but I want to try to get the rhythm down first. We could normalize this. So yeah, let's see. I forget how we did it. If it's the offset, maybe we get a. Or was it perhaps the phase, and then we only allowed the. A lot of those crackles, maybe we can sort of EQ past it. I think it's most of the crackles are happening right around in there, I think. So let's just and with our wave shaper, we've got all these crazy options here. More like a hi-hat-ish kind of thing for now. We'll get back to that. Now let's go ahead and turn this thing up a little bit. And I wanted to grab this audio blocker basically, so that way if we drop this in somewhere, it won't, audio won't be able to send through the vinyl distortion. So all right. Whoops. So this is one way to get kind of just a noise, cheap noise. It's a lot of width on that. Cool. And utilities are super cheap on the CPU. The other option would be to put a vocoder, but it's a bit more costly, if you will. And I'm always thinking in terms of how much stuff can I get, going on at once in a project, in a live set. And I like the, I'm a big fan of the DSP stuff myself. Of course, I use a ton of samples in my own offthesky stuff, so it's kind of a mix of both. And we could do the same thing that we did with the kick here. If we want even more of a tone, we can add more EQ nodes. Let's get a compressor in there and go ahead and just limit that down. Ratio 100%, threshold a little below 0, and we should be good to go. So let's add in another. The more we push this one frequency zone, we could use an auto filter has some of the filter algorithms with the feedback. So obviously there's that option. Just give some sharper shape here. All right, so where to next? Try a little grain delay after this one. I want to automate so badly, but I'm trying to refrain for the sake of this particular sketch here, just making this sort of sound source generator. So I'm going to mute this for now, and then let's throw in an auto filter and try this random shape. Make it go a little every so often. Maybe that's too fast. Let's try every 1.5. All right, so here's where we can make things get a little weird. Let's throw a gate here. Open up the sidechain panel. And we are in lane 3, chain 3 or whatever. I'm going to drop in, let's just drop in a random frequency shifter. group it. So we have our, whoops, group there, and we'll just call this 3 siphon. Okay. And yeah, you can kind of guess where I'm going with this. A little bit of feedback. This may be ridiculous or could be cool. Not really sure. So let's turn that on. Now we've got feedback coming through. It was like a weird flute. Let's go ahead and add a high pass just in case. Now this filter really, envelope really is doing some weird stuff there. Let's turn that off. You almost feel like the envelope was just a little... Now maybe if it's just barely... Sometimes the slightest of tweakings of knobs can do quite a bit. So I will group this, and let's let well, we can just, yeah, let's see, maybe let's create a chain here and put an auto pan after this. And let's try something even weirder and just drop a grain delay with a random pitch. It is interesting to know that we can get all this without even having to push play on the playhead. It's kind of a fun little challenge. I had a little phase trying to develop racks this way. Just with the Ableton effects, there's a lot you can do, but you do kind of start to run out of original sounding stuff. I really do believe once you start automating stuff, that's where you really get the cool, interesting sounds. I like this, almost like an FM sound, adds a little bass. Gives it the kick a little more definition. So we lost our okay. Let's maybe a little more res here. I think adding the grain delay kind of killed something. We could try moving this to after our feedback, which is essentially anything. Wow. Luckily we have a limiter here, and I think we could even pull this, stand to pull this down a little bit. You can see the gain reduction's going crazy. And maybe minus 12 here. It looks like we've already got a grain delay. Do we need both? Probably not. Sometimes a little echo type effect could be interesting. Oh, and there's also the noise on this one. Can add some wobble in there. Yeah, this echo effect gives you've got your own weird feedback loop stuff that you can have going on in there. Some real high-pitched stuff. There's probably a way to control that, maybe. So this tremolo here helps keep the, if we turn this off, we'll get the bright feedbacky stuff all the time. Definitely not a percussive type sound, but it's cool. We need some textures in on all this. Try an auto filter here also. Just mute that. I really wish when you turn the LFO on you could see kind of where it was going to be, what range it was affecting. So maybe we'll pull this amount down. What a weird little flute sound coming out of here from the feedback. And I think a lot of its characters coming from this LFO here, this randomness. Let's throw Philander in there. Who knows what'll happen? I do want to hear what another... Well, certainly some interesting nutty business coming out of there that probably needs a bit of a tremolo afterwards just so that it's not a constant. Right, what to do with this one? So our classic synth LFO, whatever, random LFO. semantic limiter for sure. And turn this makeup gain off. We want this shape to be the smooth one. Very mysterious sounding. Let's turn this up here. I kind of like that randomness there. It's a little more smooth sounding than the previous one. It's really what we need here is a good old-fashioned drum bus. This always makes it better. This thing, it's so abysmal, this thing. Well, there's always the tuned filters situation. Grain delay pitched way down because what I'm hearing now is so we could do this weird trick that we've messed around with in the last episode where we've got our tremolo here and then just copy and paste it and normalize that. We'll delete it and undo that, so we've got these now in sync. Both of these are in sync. And let's make this this one -12 instead. I see the CPU is starting to flip out, getting those spikes. So you can see as I pull these down, we're turning them all off. So we free up a lot of CPU. We obviously, really the best way to work something like this is span it across multiple tracks because each track will use a different CPU core. So So you can see here our CPU is what, like vacillating between what, 8 and 16 or something. Whereas if we just on one track have both of these going, you know, we're pushing a little bit higher. So if we have 3 of these going on one track, we're up to like 36. And if I duplicate this 3 times and get, let's see, 2 going here, and then 3 going here, it's a little bit less. It's usually more dramatic when I don't have so many other things running at the same time, but I'm pushing this poor laptop into the limits it does not want to be. Okay, so let's turn this down. I always forget to do that. And this kick was sounding really, really raspy. I hadn't quite dialed it in. Got all these reverbs. We don't need so many reverbs, do we? And yeah, let's actually turn all these off. I realized I hadn't really turned them all completely off. They're all completely off there. Yes, yeah, cool. So now you can see all 4 of these going. We've got, you know, between 16 and 24. So it is a bit of a noticeable difference. So let's pull in from our previous sketch. We had a bunch of these effects racks lanes, and I was really digging some of the weirdness we were getting out of those. And let's group all these and then route this to send only, and then so for this, yeah, we do have to push play to get some of these working, but that's okay. We have completed our task, our mission, I believe. So this needs to come from group 7, yes. And let's go ahead and push play and walk away. Right, we had added quite a few extras. I don't think we need all of them, personally. So let's go ahead and pull the audio from this one, from effects lane 3. Stop, we still get our beat because we're insane and we build these things to just run on their own like special creatures. And it's fun to hit stop and just hold down this shift and hit spacebar a bunch of times. You get these stop starts, but you'll notice this doesn't reset. If I don't hold down shift, we get a reset from 0. So I want to pull this kick out from these effects. And let's try to turn off the saturator. That's an interesting rhythm we have going on with this kick. I like this 1/3 and 3/16. Could even duplicate this and try another rhythm here. It's even more broken up. There, it sounds a bit better as it has just been monoed. We're getting some serious spikes here. I feel like running the video capture software OBS, it's, you know, normally I don't get these crazy spikes unless I'm video capturing, so fingers crossed that the video isn't all frame dropped and jerky. Cool. So sounds like we need a crackle. I keep hearing little crackles, and I'm not sure where they're coming from, but now I'm hearing the little crackle maker in here. Let's hope this doesn't just destroy the CPU, but and how about an echo on that? Oh, it just kind of warmed it up really nicely. Let's add a lot of modulation. I really need to play with some of these sweet effects. Oh, nice. Kind of a dubby type sound. Bit of a minor chord there. Definitely get some cool dub stuff going on with echo. So we need to, modulate obviously the rate or the delay. Yeah, this one. And let's go ahead and modulate the filter. Ourselves some resonance. Yeah, this kick we can definitely we could boost it even a little bit more. As you can see, it's not even pushing. But if I duplicate this, it's going to sound insane. Liking the analog character coming out of this drum bus. Yeah, maybe a bit of overdrive, just good measure. Turn this feedback down just a little bit more. Wow, the speaker is just blown, it sounds like. Down a little bit. splash of reverb. I feel like I'm cooking here. Just a dash of echo and a splash of reverb. I mean, we are making recipes in some sort of way. Cool. All right. So yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. Honestly, it, you know, fits with the video, and the kick isn't perfect, but is there ever such a thing as the perfect kick? Honestly, that's the question. It seems like so many people are just out there searching for it. This could also use a bit of a or like seventh. We could sometimes I just like to type in 5 or 7. Fifth, you can get nice melodic. Kind of a nice bit bouncy little beat. Very cool, very cool. So I wanted to actually pause this for a second, and I just want to do 2 renders of this for a couple of measures, both in 48 kilohertz and then one in 192, and then just drop them in and have a little compare and contrast. I'm curious myself what this will all sound like. Maybe there's not much of a difference, or maybe there's a lot. We'll see. Okay, we're back. Time warp. Did 2 renderings here. We've got the 48 16-bit one and the 192 16-bit one. And so let's go ahead and play a little bit of the 48. And the 192. A bit more noisy on the 48 one, but that could also be the noise coming out of the echo is yeah, I don't know, it's just it's a little more clear if you ask me. This is the 192 one. Feels like the high-end little clicks on the kick are a little more well-defined in this version. Yeah, overall I think it sounds a lot clearer and crisper in some ways. It's subtle, and unless you have good headphones and really good ears, you may not be able to notice. And that's okay, you know? No one's judging. This is a judge-free zone. Oops, I'm on the wrong one. Let's see, because obviously I make a lot of mistakes, so, you know, I'm not one to talk in terms of perfectionism or... I do like the 192 because you can pitch it down a lot. And you still get... Like, I think we pitched it down, this is like minus 24 notes. And you can hear there's just like a lot of clear high-end stuff coming through. Versus, let's see, we've got 452, yeah, 452. Versus this, the, well, let's go ahead and just start these over. The 48 one. This is the kind of weird, nerdy crap that I like to do on a Saturday night or whatever. Just sit around and experiment with different sample rates on things. And yeah, the 192 one, the noise coming through is so much crisper. Yeah, and here it sounds like, you know, more of a classic CD quality pitch down, and this is... So, well, there's that. I guess it's interesting to note for future reference that, you know, 192 is, well, it's just better in a lot of ways. Again, some plugins you won't notice much of a difference at all, and then other plugins do behave quite differently, I found. So, and essentially 192 versus 48 is the equivalent of 4x oversampling, which is a feature of a lot of plugins. Yeah, so awesome. Well, I guess you know, we'll call it on this. And yeah, until next time.